So I've tried several different ships for the new anomalies, and in my case, my Macarial is so far the best one. At least it is the best performing. Now I think that's because I have really good skills for the Macarial, and really good skills with a very high level implant do help a lot. Now I've also tried out the Dominic's. It did work really well, but it kind of lacked DPS, and the Gila is really good for the small ones, but against medium ones, well, let's say the Gila can tank them, but it definitely doesn't have enough DPS to clear them in a decent time frame. Now, one ship that I wanted to try out is the Megathron Striker. This thing can have very good DPS. This is one of my PvP battleships that I can also transform into a PvE ship when required. So I'm very curious to see how the Megathron Striker will perform. It will have the exact same build as my Macarial, with the exact same modules, with the only difference being that this is going to be using railguns, and the implant will be also different. I have the thermocirculation implants, and everything is basically set to be on maximum range. 97.71 km is the optimal, accuracy value 49.1 km, tracking speed 3.33. Now I believe cannons might have longer range, but I think we will find that out very soon. So let me go and warp to the anomaly. Now I'll be doing a small one, and then in a different video I will be running a medium one. This is the exact same thing that I did with the Macarial, and the Macarial passed both tests. I do run mediums with the Macarial quite often. Basically just snipe, and it's really very easy to just snipe with the Macarial. Especially now, the one thing that I didn't do last time, I didn't have a shield booster. Now on this ship I have an armor repair, but I don't think that it will be required. Since this is a Galanda ship, I already prepared a little armor tank, but you can also do a shield tank on this. However, you are going to be using energy weapons, which means that you want to minimize the impact of your modules on your capacitor, since if my memory serves me well, the Megathron Striker didn't really perform that well with its capacitor performance. I remember running out of capacitor when I used this ship on the test server, but we will see what will happen in this video. Maybe I'm not going to run into any capacitor problems. Although this is a striker battleship, they are known for their DPS. Not to be confused with the navies. The navies have DPS and tank. This ship has the DPS, but it doesn't have the tank. So that should be interesting. So I have warped in. Now, as usual, I didn't warp directly. I warped from the sun, so that if someone was running the anomaly, that I don't land in between 50 ships. As usual, I'll be focusing down the primary targets. Now you see these two frigates that are glowing reds? Yeah, they need to die first. They can be dangerous, and I will make sure that they are destroyed first. There we go, one down. They're fast, and they potentially can carry a scrambler, so that's why they should be a primary target for this. Now, it seems like the railguns have much faster rate of fire, obviously, but it would also look like that I am doing less damage to them. Now with the Macarial, I was slapping them for, like, in some cases up to 15,000 damage per hit, which is expected. The projectile turrets have enormous alpha damage, but but very low rate of fire. In this case, the railguns have much faster rate of fire, but lower alpha. Resistance-wise, I think I should be good. They have a lot of EM resistance. I'm doing kinetic and thermal. So I think in that case, in that aspect, I should be covered. Now I see that my range is a little bit suffering here. I actually did expect the siege mode to do some good damage, but apparently it doesn't, because the drone ships are moving quite fast and they can effectively speed tank me at this distance. So siege mode will be off and I'll continue shooting at them with the normal mode. I think if I did have the normal setup without a general unit for range, I think I might be able to hit them with the siege mode, with this build, with triple tracking computers, but since I am currently specialized for long range, I don't have the tracking bonus on the tracking computers. Kind of funny. A tracking computer without a tracking bonus. Yeah, I know. Anyway, internet crashed for a second there, so let me stop the ship from warping. Usually when my internet crashes, the ship never warps. So this is something that hasn't happened in a very long time. Ship actually warped. Interesting. Anyway, let's keep on focusing on the targets. I'm doing some good damage. I'm pretty happy with the... That was actually a pretty good hit there. Now the drones primarily do tank... They primarily do tank shield, although they also seem to have some very nice armor stats. I mean, they have a lot of tank in general. So here you can take a look at the armor resistance. I mean, I know that there are some of the drones who are shield tanked. Some of them seem to have some more armor resistance, but for the vast majority of time, I would say that they're mostly shield tanked. Now, my skills for the Megathron Striker are good. I think they're like 555 or 554. It depends what skill is basically required. Since I know that I have all the skills on level 5 for the Megathron Navy. If I actually kind of forgot what skills both of these ships use. If they are the same skills, if the Megathron Navy just has the expert one, then I think I might be able to fly both of them efficiently, but I'll have to double check that. In any case, either 555 or 554. That's my skill for railguns. For cannons, I'm off on level 5. Everything is on level 5 for that. That's why I know that I'm basically maxed out for the Macarial and for the Tempest Navy. Now I'm itching to actually buy a Navy battleship. I say for the last 7 days that I haven't decided which one to buy, which is not really true, because I think I have my eyes on the Raven Navy because of its amazing tank and because of the way that ship works. It is the tankiest Navy battleship in the game, but at the same time I'm also quite attracted to the Megathron Navy because I have an implant for it and I can easily supercharge that ship. It can basically be a really crazy tank. So I have these two options, and basically haven't went to eat yet, and I haven't went to the market basically to buy one, since had no time and been busy with a lot of different things in the game, so really didn't have time to visit Ita, which necessarily isn't a bad thing. I can just take my time and really think about what ship to get, since I have to keep in mind that these things are very expensive. When I say very expensive, not on the market, they're not that expensive anymore on the market, but when you look at the IP cost, they are insanely expensive. Now the boxes will go away at one point, and then the price on the market will also go up. And one day, if the boxes ever go away, then the price of these ships will be about 10 to 15 billion on the market, because that's basically the estimated cost. Maybe more than that. It really depends on how players decide to sell that ship.
We're under attack.
Now, the one thing that I am not really happy about right now is the fact that I am not doing much damage at very long distances, which honestly is pretty normal for this build. Now, with the Macarial, I talked about changing the rigs potentially into some... Actually, what was the name of the rig? I kind of forgot, but basically the idea was to further extend the range of the cannons even more. The armbit rigs, they extend the range. You have a equivalent for railguns as well. The armbit extension rig, which can definitely make sniping easier, but that will sacrifice some of the DPS. Now, if you have a specialized sniping ship, then going for the full range is definitely the way to go. I mean, you can also kind of make a integrated build and combine several different attributes for the cannons into one. The main drawback would be a lower DPS, because when you go with integrations, you can have a lot of attributes fitted into one rig, but the one attribute that's definitely not going to be maxed out is its DPS. Right now, triple burst or dual burst and one collision rig are the best combination for maximum DPS. Now, cannons, railguns, lasers usually don't benefit much from integrations. Missiles and drones, for example, really do benefit from integration, since the extra attributes really do help out a lot. But for cannons and lasers and railguns, the same thing can also kind of be applied, but from my personal experience, integrating them didn't really do much. I mean, it did some good stuff, of course, but the price to performance ratio is definitely kind of not worth it. Although with the cheap integrations you can make some very nice combos, if I have to be honest. I mean, if I have to be 100% honest, the cheap integrations are definitely the way to go for a lot of different builds. From tank builds, even some DPS builds. Although integrations are generally mostly used for the tank, but again, some weapon systems can really benefit from integrations like drones and missiles. The integrated Nestor for DPS with drones is pretty nasty. Integrated Rattlesnake for tank or drones is also pretty nasty. Then we can also look at the Barghasts with integrated missile rigs. That thing is absolutely insane with missile rigs, with integrations as well. So integrations do have a very good place in the more, let's say, aggressive type of play. But when I say aggressive type of play, it means for more DPS and for more, not for more DPS, but for more enhanced weapons. However, in my case, I still prefer to use integrations primarily for tank. But again, I might change that down the road. We will see. I know that there is a balance patch coming up. I think it might even happen next week, since we are kind of approaching the middle of September, and the supposed balance patch is definitely getting closer and closer with every passing day. So my estimate is most likely next week we are going to have a balance patch. And the long-awaited 10 million Lazarus points that I need for various reasons. And also very excited because I'm still waiting for... I mean, I have a lot of ISK right now, and I did plan to buy a carrier. I still do plan to buy a carrier with that ISK. But it hasn't happened yet, mostly because I'm waiting for the balance patch to pass, so that I know what implant to get. If everything goes smoothly, most likely going to get a purple bombard implant. Either a bombard implant, or perhaps I will get a high power coil, but most likely going to get something related to drones, because currently the drone implant is the most powerful one, and if they don't change the bombard tactic implant again, then yeah, I'm definitely maxing that one out. As for the barrage implant, I'm very happy with where it currently sits. I might improve it a little bit more, because I really started to enjoy using the barrage implant with the artillery cannons, basically using it with a long range build. So that can happen as well. Might even, go with a gold barrage implant. I don't know. We will see. There is also the chance that the barrage implant might be changed again. If they do change the barrage implant again, then I don't know what I mean, the one thing that all implants need is a big nerf, to be honest. I would nerf all of the implants, but we will see what will happen. The balance patch is definitely basically right around the corner. And I believe next week is going to be the week where we get to see the balance. Now, my range on the Megathron here, I mean, it's been doing well, honestly. The extra rate of fire definitely feels a bit more natural. I found myself being a little bit exhausted waiting for the artillery cannons to cycle, but the alpha damage that they do is always satisfying. Now, when I said that this ship might have some capacitor problems, I think I kind of nailed it. Look at my capacitor. It's kind of low, but it's not critical. But there is definitely a massive difference between the capacitor stability between the Megathron and between the Machariel. The Machariel basically could run the micro overdrive at all times because the projectile turrets take no capacitor. Meanwhile, the Megathron Striker here does rely on the capacitor because the railguns need capacitor in order to fire. So this is one of the big differences between these two ships. Now, this is not necessarily bad. It just means that you have to be very careful with your capacitor management, but it also makes the Machariel much easier to use, since you can do either a shield or armor tank. Whether you go armor or shield, I'll leave that up to pilot preference, because I know some of you guys have better shield skills, some of you guys have better armor skills. And again, depending on the skills that you have and your preference of tank, you can pick either armor or shield. Now, since the Megathron here did seem to have some issues with the capacitor, I decided to... I already had that feeling right on the start, so I went with a armor tank by default, which was a smart thing to do since armor repairs don't take much capacitor. They do repair slower, but for return you get a better capacitor, so I think that's a win. I think that's pretty much a victory in my book for the tank. So armor tank definitely on the Megatron Striker, because the capacitor might be a problem. Now you can actually do something very funny and put large capacitor boosters in the medium slots that can technically recover your capacitor. It can make the capacitor a bit more stable, but it would kind of be funny. But it's also something that's been used in CTA fleets, and I kind of see its work, but only for a high sec build. I wouldn't take that in low sec, because that would be a very, very, very bad idea, since in low sec there's pirates, and in low sec you need webs for defense. You also need scramblers also for defense. So the group capacitor booster, definitely an interesting idea, but only for high sec and only if you are solo, and of course only if you do have capacitor proms. But so far I'm actually generally very happy with the performance of the Megatron Striker. I also have I forgot to mention, I have an nanocore for it, which isn't really leveled up. I have no nanocore that's really fully leveled up. It's a clear sky purple core that I got for the ship back when I first bought it. After all, this ship was imagined to be used as a PvP ship. It has some very nice skills attached to it. I have a 9 billion Armageddon kill with this thing. What was one of my first kills actually. My battleships have this, let's say, tradition where every first kill of literally any of my battleships was something expensive. My Balgorn killed... My Balgorn... The first kill of my Balgorn was a 14 billion ISK Macarial. Then my first PvP kill on the Macarial was a Space Pan, which was about, I think, 16 or 14 billion ISK. And then on this day, my first big kill was that Armageddon. So kind of funny how every time I take new ship outs, the first kill that they have is something expensive. It's kind of a tradition at this point. Although I have to say, hats off to my Macarial. The Macarial that I fly killed 5 space pants, I think, 5 of them. Kind of funny, because that's like, besides the Revelation, my Macarial is the only ship that killed a space pan in my fleet. So that's kind of funny, and also something that's kind of worth mentioning. Now, as for the future Navy ship that I will buy, well, who knows, maybe it's next, maybe the first kill for my Navy battleship will be something big, who knows. Now, one of the small problems that you might encounter with the thermocirculation implant is the fact that the thermocirculation implant is kind of difficult to use. Now, I can definitely see them change the way the thermal circulation implant works. They might add more DPS, they might reduce DPS, they might actually change the whole implant for what I know, but the thermal circulation implant remains one of the more difficult implants to use, if you want, of course, to use it as a DPS implant. It gives you a higher DPS bonus than the high power coil, but it's basically like a shotgun. You have to hit up the implant to 70, your effect lasts from 70 to 99. If you overheat the implant, your DPS drops significantly, and your ship is basically useless for a full minute. So you should always turn off the implant when it's about to overheat. I usually turn it off at 95%. Sometimes I mess up and I overheat it. It happens. Not a big deal. I mean, I not a big deal. It kind of is a big deal with this implant, since you are basically helpless for a full minute once it overheats. So yeah, that kind of sucks on this implant, but it also has a very good side to it. Not to overheat, but the overheat is definitely not a good side to it. But it also is the only implant in the game right now that gives you tank. 20% extra armor on all damage types. Or you can also pick the secondary attribute that can give you more range. Both fantastic attributes, and I use both depending on the ship. When I'm flying something armor tanked, I go with extra armor resistance. When I go with something that is a sniper like the Megathron, like in this case for example, I go with extra range. So in general it is a very good implant. It's just very difficult to use for DPS, but very easy to use in terms of tank, which is kind of funny, since in a way that's actually perfect balance. Both ways to use the implant, one is very hard, one is very difficult, and both of them combined bring balance. Although if I have to like say which implant might be the most balanced implant in the game, I would probably say the thermal circulation implant, because it does increase your DPS, but the effect is so minuscule, it doesn't last long, and it's like a couple shots only. It has insane drawbacks, and it is mostly used for tanking. So one of the most balanced, quotation marks on the balanced part, one of the most balanced implants in the game. Kind of funny, but that's how it feels like. The most balanced one, thermal circulation. The most broken one is the bomber tactic. I love how the focus crystal became like a meme from what it used to be. The focus crystal used to be the most broken one, but not anymore. Anyway, one ship left, and I think this is the last wave. Overall, I am very happy with the performance of the Megathron Striker. It cleared the anomaly really well in a very quick way, and didn't even have to use the armor pair. So this ship does seem to be a very good choice to clear the small anomaly so far. I will definitely put this ship to the test and yeet it at a medium anomaly. But I think if I do that, I'll definitely tweak the build a little bit out, because I want to have a better capacitor and maybe just a little bit more range, because it would look like the large artillery cannons seem to be performing really well. They seem to perform a bit better at extreme distances. They seem to slap really hard, even at 200 plus kilometers. Meanwhile, with this ship, I wasn't really hitting much at that distance. The distance is not bad, the range is not bad, but it just feels like the Macarial is kind of outperforming the Megathron Striker in terms of range. And of course alpha damage, because, you know, cannons just have that crazy alpha damage. But, you know, it does get the job done so far. And I'm very happy with the Megathron Striker. Definitely a very good choice for these anomalies. And generally speaking, most ships can pull this off quite easily. You can just replicate this build on any ship, and you should get some very nice range to go along with the ship, basically. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. That was a very nice little run with the Megathron Striker. I'm very happy with its performance. The ship did well. So, with that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments below. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.